Today we will see few of the interview questions for software testing. What is the difference between STLC and SDLC? So when we come to the abbreviation, STLC stands for Software Testing Lifecycle, SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Now, as the name suggests, Software Development Lifecycle is the steps involved for developing the software, whereas SDLC lifecycle contains all the required steps or stages where any tester do validation and verification of the given software. So SDLC is mainly for testers, SDLC is mainly for developers. What is traceability matrix? So whenever we start preparing our test cases and test scenarios, how does any tester get to know that all the required features are tested or not? Or what was the code coverage? Code coverage is nothing but if 100 lines of code was written, is all 100 lines of code is tested or not? To identify that particular data point, we use traceability matrix. So actually traceability matrix provides us the relationship between the test cases written and the requirements of the feature. So if whatever is the specification document we have and whatever test cases we have, the traceability matrix will contain the relationship between these two data points, which will help us to identify whether we are having good code coverage or not. What is equivalence partitioning testing? So whenever we have any groups, like small example of income tax. Now income tax from till 5 lakhs, there is no income tax. From 5 to 10 lakhs, we have income tax of 5%. 10 to 15 lakhs, income tax of 10%. Now what happens whenever we have this kind of partitioning in the functionality? We need to test whether all these partitionings are working properly or not. Therefore, we will take example of within 0 to 5 lakhs, we will take one random number and check what is the income tax for that amount. Similarly, from 5 to 10 lakhs, we take one more number in between them. So, equivalence partitioning is a testing approach or a testing technique which helps us to derive whether the application is working as expected based on the test data that is passed, and the test data should fall under all the required categories of partitioning. Whatever is the range of test data you have, we should take one data out of that entire range. So how it is exactly defined is a software testing technique which divides the application input data into each partitioning. So your input data should be having data from each partitioning, where at least one of the equivalent data from each test case can be derived. That is nothing but every partition you should be having minimum one test data. What is white box testing? And list the types of white box testing. So whenever we do any functional testing, how do we segregate white box testing is like when we get the code deployed. If we go inside the code and try to understand how exactly the code is written, then the type of testing is called as white box testing. So it's a technique where the test cases are written based on the code developed for a particular piece of functionality. So by looking into the code, what developers are going to develop, we are going to create our test case and test scenarios. This is also called as code-based testing because testers want to make sure that nothing is missed. That is the reason why there will be few projects where testers will start writing test cases after looking into the code. Now there are multiple type of techniques in doing white box testing. That is statement coverage and decision coverage. What is black box testing? And what are the different types of black box testing? Black box testing is like entire contradictory concept of white box testing. In black box testing, none of the testers will go and check the code. Based on the specification document, whatever we got with the requirements, test cases will be written without looking into how exactly code was developed for a specific requirement. So whatever test case and test scenarios were prepared were completely based on the specification document. Now, what and all techniques we have for black box testing? Equivalence partitioning, boundary value analysis. There are multiple techniques. These are like two important techniques out of them. What is verification and validation? Verification is a process where tester involves during the development phase. So tester will also evaluate the software during development phase. Before even code being deployed into one place, testers will have some effort in evaluating the software during development phase. Why it is very important? Because that will help us whether developers are actually writing the code in the right direction or not. Like, is there any gap between the specification document and the developed code which is in development phase? So that is why we call it as verification. Coders like testers will just go and verify whether the code is written according to the specification or not. Then validation is nothing but whatever is the code developed, we validate whether that code is working according to the expectation or not. So basically, tester's job involves in two different cases. One place where developers will actually during the development phase, and other one is after development phase. Verification is during development phase, validation is post development phase. What are different test levels? It is nothing but what are the different type of testings we have. There are multiple type of testings. We are categorizing into four different parts. One is unit or component or module testing. Second one is integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. So these are the four important testings any given application has to undergo before going to the production. What is the difference between test scenarios, test case, and the test script? So let's try to understand them. So test scenarios is like based on the functionality, we will try to write the scenarios. So one small example is there is a login functionality. You will be definitely having one login scenario where we will try to write the scenarios in identifying the functionality of login. So basically a test scenario is any functionality that can be tested. Test cases. Now test scenarios that are written, you will be having multiple steps or multiple type of use cases that need to be tested. Those are covered as a part of test cases. So it is basically defined as a document that contains the steps that need to be executed to check any functionality. And also test cases is not only about the steps, it's also about identifying whether a negative use case or a positive use case. So basically one test scenario can contain multiple test cases, but the vice versa is not true. Like one test case cannot have multiple scenarios, but one test scenario can contain n number of test cases. Test script. Test script is nothing but it is a programming language or it's a code written to do a validation. So to check any given functionality, whatever steps we are going to write in test cases, for that we can even prepare some programming language. That is nothing but it's automation. Rather than doing manually, we can write a piece of code that helps to do the testing of a given functionality. When is RTM prepared? So here RTM is nothing but requirement traceability matrix. When we are supposed to prepare this matrix, it was supposed to be prepared before even writing the test cases. It is nothing but as soon as we prepare test scenarios based on the functionalities. Before writing the test cases, we start preparing the requirement traceability matrix. Mention what bottom-up testing is. One of the technique in integration testing. So what exactly we do over here is, whenever we do integration testing, it will be containing lot of components. So rather than testing randomly all the components, this is an approach where we start testing from the lowest level component, which is like a smallest component. Smallest of all components will be tested first. If it is success, then we go to one level higher component. Like that, based on the output we get, we keep on navigating to the higher level component. Now we will mark integration testing as completed only once we complete testing for the highest level component in the hierarchy. So we start from the smallest of smallest component to the biggest component that is available in the hierarchy. Explain what test plan is and what is the information that should be covered in test plan. So basically, a test plan can be defined as a document which contains multiple details like what will be your scope for a given particular testing, like what and all functionalities you are going to test in this particular release. That is nothing but defining the scope. Approach is nothing but how are you going to complete the testing approach? Is it manual or is it automation? If it is automation, what and all programming languages we are using? If it is manual, what and all techniques we are using? So all these approach details will be mentioned in the document. Resources. How many people are going to work in this particular release? And the schedule. If assume 5 people are working, what will be the timelines to complete testing effort? So multiple details like this will be covered in test plan. So they contain the scope, means what we are going to test and what we are not going to test in this particular release, and approach is like it's also called as test strategy. If you see below, there are 5 different options, right? We can correlate each one of them to over here. Scope is defined as test objective. So what will be the objective for this particular release? Approach, test strategy, whether it is manual, automation. If it is manual, what techniques we are going to use? If it is automation, what framework we are going to use? Exit and suspension criteria. It is nothing but at any given point of time, when are you going to stop the testing? So there are 2 possible cases. One possible case is if everything is successfully passing, we will close the testing when all the test cases are executed. And the second possible case is we identified some critical issues. That means if there are any critical issues, we will immediately suspend the activity of testing and report all the bugs to the developer. So we need to mention even the exit or suspension criteria for a given release. Resource planning. How many people are going to work for this? Test deliverables. By what time we are going to deliver the testing data? What is alpha testing? So it is nothing but when all the type of testings are completed from tester. So basically testings are done at testing environment, but in the real time the environment can be different. Consider like this. Now we have executed in Linux box of particular version, whereas when it goes to real-time production, the Linux box can be of a different version or a different release. So just to make sure that whatever piece of code that is written, there is no problem when it goes to a different actual server. For that, we will always have one actual server in testing environment itself, which is exactly same like production environment. Now, once all the functional testing is completed, we will do a pre-release testing at developer side. That developer side is nothing but it's exactly the same server, same environment, what is going to be available in the production. This will give us more confidence that when we go to production, there will not be having any issue. What is beta testing? So whenever a major release is happening, many companies, what they do is, rather than onboarding all the people into the new application, they try to handpick few of the people and ask them to test whether the application is working as expected or not. So beta testing is nothing but it is a testing performed by potential customers at their own locations. So it's like this. Assume Amazon has given a new functionality. Rather than rolling out to all the people, what they can do is they can give the new functionality build or a patch to respective people. Like example, if there are 10 people and they have 10 specific devices which are using Amazon app, now a new upgrade can be given only to these 10 people where they can see a new code. Now they can start using Amazon as a daily customer and see if they have any potential issues because of the new code change. This is called as beta testing. Here beta testing, we actually pick the real-time customers and we will try to test in the real environment, not in the testing environment. An input field takes the year of birth between 1900 and 2004. What are the boundary values for testing you will consider here? So whenever we have any range or a number, boundary value analysis is one of the most important technique that needs to be considered. Now when we have any given number, here the range is 1900 to 2004. So you need to consider for both lower end number and the higher end number and see how it is behaving. So whenever you consider lower end, like example 1900, you need to consider one number which is not in the range. It is nothing but 1899, exactly one number less than 1900. and exactly on the boundary what number is there, 1900. And the same approach to the right hand side, exact boundary number is 2004 and the number immediately outside the range 2005. So these four test data are supposed to be mandatorily added in any given test cases whenever we start having a range. This approach is called as boundary value analysis. Thank you everyone.